Welcome back. Well, the downturn in the Australian housing market could soon be behind us, with new Domain figures out this morning showing improved confidence in the property sector. So with things looking like they may finally be bottoming out, is now the best time to buy a home? Well, Domain economist Trent Wiltshire is here with all the details for us now. Trent, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Really interesting findings in this Domain report out today. What's it showing overall in the property market in Australia?
So overall, on average, the capital cities are down by 0.4% in the quarter, but there are some signs that things are turning around in Sydney and Melbourne. Importantly for this report, we've covered the period from April to June. So things really changed in May. The election was on, then the Reserve Bank started cutting rates in June, and some lending rules also changed. So things really started to turn from June.
And so much of the property market depends on confidence, and that's what seems to be triggering this uptick.
Yeah, that's right. So confidence has really turned recently, and that's really started to come through the past few weeks, particularly in Sydney and Melbourne.
All right, let's go through some of the markets specifically. Melbourne first up. It's had house prices with their first increase since 2017, so that's quite a big boon for that market.
That's right. So Melbourne houses up by 0.3% in the quarter to $818,000. As you said, the first increase for a couple of years now, but there's still a big correction. So prices are down by about 10% from their peak. And things are actually looking, things have sort of improved as well in the last few weeks. So clearance rates are strong, so they're up in about the 70 to 75% range, and that generally aligns with modest price growth.
And Sydney, what's going on in that market? It's not an uptick, but at least less of a downtick.
That's right. So Sydney price is down by 0.4% in the quarter, but that's the smallest quarterly decrease we've had since 2017. So definitely signs that things could be turning around soon in Sydney. And again, for Sydney, things are looking like they're turning around faster. In July, clearance rates again up to about 75% in Sydney, so that's really signalling that the market is close to the bottom.
Now, Brisbane and Perth, obviously every market is very different. It's hard to say just a national thing in Australia. Right. Everyone's so different. But what's going on in Brisbane?
So Brisbane down 1.4% in the quarter and down about 2% over the year. Brisbane's really softened the past 6 to 12 months, but it is up by almost 20% over 5 years.
And the apartment market in Brisbane is quite different to other markets too.
That's right. So the Brisbane apartment market has really softened quite a lot. So that's down 11% from its peak of a few years ago. In Perth, it's down 2% over the quarter, but it's really fallen quite a bit over the last few years. So it's down 11% from its 2014 peak. So Perth's really been crunched by the end of the mining boom.
Yeah.
But things are looking like they could turn around in Perth. Population growth is picking up. The economy is looking better. The mining sector is stronger. And there's also more people attending open for inspections in Perth too. So things are potentially turning around there.
All right, Adelaide then and Canberra. Let's take a look at those two markets. What's happening in Adelaide? Much of a smaller decrease there too.
Yeah, that's right. So Adelaide, very small fall, 0.1%, but it's actually only the second quarterly fall we've had in Adelaide since 2014. So it's really just been slow and steady house price growth in Adelaide. In Canberra, a bit of a mixed bag, up in the quarter but down slightly over the year. Again, Canberra's sort of softened recently, but pretty strong growth over the past 5 years, up by about 30%.
And what's the overall forecast? Are we expecting that we'll have a gradual increase and rise in prices overall, or is it going to be like the downturn was, quite a sudden drop?
I think it'll be a pretty soft recovery. So I'm forecasting low single-digit price growth into 2019 and then into 2020. So, yeah, not a big rebound in prices.
And what's your advice then to home owners and investors? It's always the $20 million question,
That's right, yeah.
When to actually dive in. What do you advise people?
Well, with the market near the bottom, it does look like it is becoming a good time to buy. For sellers, look, listings are down a lot because sellers really aren't selling unless they have to. So unless they're forced to sell, sellers are holding off, waiting, and hopefully that they're going to see prices rise before they start selling. So it's almost a bit of a standoff at the moment. Yeah,
and first home buyers would be hoping that it stays at the bottom rather than
That's
going
right.
up.
It's not going to be, hopefully, a big recovery, just some modest growth, I think, over the next year.
Yeah, interesting analysis and great figures to be going through with you, Trent. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us. Top of the hour, let's get the very latest in the news now.